Hello, and welcome to my broadcast from Scotland at 12:30 a.m. in the morning. Um, if you're not watching yet, hopefully you will be soon. I do this normally on a Sunday. I have started doing this during the week. I would like to begin by playing my favourite theme music, and I do hope you like Scottish music because that's what you're going to get. Hello. Okay, so quick introduction. My name, as you can see, is Marc Stuart. That's my webpage flashing along the bottom. I am a church trained Scottish spiritual medium. Since the lockdown at the end of March, my wife and I started doing a Sunday broadcast as close to church conditions as we could. So we do prayers, we do spiritual messaging, and obviously clairvoyance. It has become very popular. For example, on Sunday, we had 30 people all live, all asking for messages, and we weren't able to give everybody a message. Partly because of that, and also partly because I'm trying to reach America, I'm doing an additional two broadcasts a week. If you're in the UK, that's Monday night, Tuesday morning, or Thursday night, Friday morning. If you're in Australia, that will be late in the evening or afternoon on Tuesday or Friday. If you're in America, then clearly it'll be Monday evening and Thursday evening. I will be giving messages. If you want a message, you have to type it in the chat box. Ying normally chooses who gets the messages. Tonight, you'll be down to myself. So I will be paying closer attention to the chat box than I normally do. On a Sunday, I normally leave that to my wife Ying, and I'm just concentrating on the person I'm giving the message to. Messages will be short, evidence of who the person is, who the spirit that's coming forward is, and then I will try and give you a message from them. I try to keep the messages short to get through as many as possible. Obviously, during the week with fewer people watching because we haven't built up an audience yet, then hopefully I can give everybody a message and we won't have the same situation that we're in on a Sunday. The only other two rules I ask people to follow are: number one, if I give you a message, please do not leave. There are three parties involved in this. There's myself, the medium, there's you, the people that want the readings, and the spirit. Energy flows both ways. And if people come in, get a message, and then leave, they take away the energy that I'm working with, the energy that we're building up together to help spirit to come through. And it's not fair for the people that get the message at the end if you get a message and then leave. Second, when I give you evidence, don't give me feedback on yes, no, yes. There are time delays. I don't know what the time delay is going to be tonight. Sometimes it can be as short as 10 seconds. Sometimes it can be as high as 45 seconds to 50 seconds. So if I'm busy working, I mean, I'll give you a ridiculous example. If I say I've got a woman with a parrot on her shoulder wearing an eye patch, but she says she's not a pirate, don't say yes, 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 no. Say yes, woman, yes, yes, parrot. She was a pirate. No to the eye patch, so that I know where I've got it wrong in the interpretation. I can go back to spirit and get clarification. That's how it works. So if you give me yes, no, yeses, without Ying here to tone me down, I'll just say, sorry, can't make any sense of your replies, and I'll move on to the next message. So I'm just warning you. That's what I'm going to do. Next, health warning. The last three broadcasts, especially on the Sunday, we seem to be attracting, I'm going to call them idiots, people with weird African names, messaging everybody that puts a post up saying, $50, let me give you a reading. When I see somebody like that, I will stop whatever I'm doing and I will work on the computer controls to delete them and block them. If somebody does that to you after the event, please send me a message so that I can try and trace them down and block them. I'm using a piece of software, a broadcast platform. I'm not doing this directly from Facebook. There's a lot of reasons for it. So, for example, I'm broadcasting in three locations: my page, which is just the Scottish Medium, my timeline, obviously, but also on YouTube. That's the purpose for it, but it also gives me a lot more technical controls. So I can do a lot of things. I can mess people up with their access to here very quickly. Not trying to be negative, just trying to warn you. If I see somebody like that, I will suddenly stop and deal with them. If somebody comes afterwards, as I said, please message me and let me know. That's pretty much about it. I always start with a prayer. I always close with a prayer. On a Sunday, I do spiritual address. I'm not going to do an address tonight. That's pretty much all I've got to say. So if you would please join me for a short prayer. Dear Father, Mother, Spirit, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for opening the door to the other side. Thank you for the heat and energy that I can already feel being generated. Please let us work together. Please let us help the spirits that want to give evidence of life after death and proof through messages. And please, if there are any messages that need to be delivered tonight, please make me aware of them and help me to interpret them to give them properly. Thank you. Amen. Okay, thank you. So let me just pay a little bit of attention. Good evening to everybody. You're not going to get Ying typing tonight. I am not going to type because when I type, it comes up on my screen multiple times. So, hello to Deborah. Hello to Nina. Hello to Robin. Hello to Laurie. Okay. Oh, and I'm also going to ask you all three things. First off, on Sunday, the 29th of November, excuse me if I've got the date wrong, but it's the last Sunday of the month. I'm doing a special service where I'm trying to raise money for a local charity, a hospice where my father actually died. I'm only going to limit the readings to 10, and I'm going to ask for a £5 donation for anybody that gets a reading. And I'm going to ask people to book and pay in advance so that we know that we've got enough people to do it. Second, if I do give you a reading and if you're happy with it, please do two things for me. Leave a review on my page, Just the Scottish Medium, and also please share this event. If we can share the event, more people get to see it after the event, and we spread the good word about the concepts of traditional Scottish spiritualism, which is what I'm working and demonstrating tonight. Right, so thank you for your time. Okay. So, Robin, can I come to yourself? Robin, I've got a man coming forward. Quite pompous, actually. That's the way making him feel. That's his personality. Quite elderly. Let's put it this way. He's showing me two walking sticks. I don't think they're real. I just think they are to demonstrate his personality. He wouldn't be using the traditional simple plain walking stick. He is using a very ornate, carved, look at me style walking stick. Don't think he really needed a walking stick if he did have one. If he did have one, it was to draw attention to himself. Basically, look at the elegant walking stick I've got. But I think that's his character. Don't get hung up on the walking stick. I think that's just illustrating his character. Age-wise, quite elderly. Late 70s, early 80s, which for a man is quite old. Not, it's a young elderly woman, but this is a man. Thin, although I think that's his age. I think he was a good build when he was younger. Get the feeling that as he's got older, he's sort of declined in size, and I'm seeing him stooped. He's sort of bending over when he's walking. So maybe my assessment of the walking stick is wrong. Maybe he was using a walking stick towards the end of his life. So, Robin, does any of that make sense to you? Can you take a man, pompous, elderly, quite thin, grey, short grey hair by the time he was older? I think it was quite blackish when he was younger. Maybe quite a large man when he was younger, sort of as he got older, he's sort of faded away slightly in terms of size. So, Robin, can you give me some feedback? Do you recognize this man? No. Okay, Robin. So that's a no. Bearing in mind, it doesn't need to be your relative. It could be somebody that you know. Let me see what else he's giving me. I know your name is Robin, but I think you had a similar sounding name. Attention was just suddenly drawn to your name. Not saying his name was Robin, but R, certainly there's an R in his name. Either that or he is a relative, drawn to your name. So, Robin, maybe think a wee bit wider. Does any of this make sense to you at all? Is it a complete no, or can you recognize this person at all? Show me a car as well. A turquoise, sort of light blue colored car. So again, Robin, does any of this make sense to you? So Robin, widen it out a wee bit. Something about a name, Robin, or R might be an indication that he is related to you, although if he is a relation, it's a distant relation. Right, so that's a complete no then, Robin. Okay. Okay, so people, I'm going to open this up to an open message. Can anybody recognize Can anyone take an elderly man in his late 70s, early 80s when he passed, very thin, towards the end, not during his life. I think as he's got older, he's got thinner and not wasting away is the wrong terminology. No, we're not talking health wasting away, but he's got thinner and weaker as he got older and smaller. Very pompous personality, very, very pompous personality. And I don't mean that as an insult. That's just he's making me aware of his character. Walking sticks, one that's very plain and wooden, one that's very ornate. Now, I'm not sure if that's symbolic or if the ornate one would be when he was younger and he was trying to draw attention to himself, and the wooden one's maybe stronger, more sturdy when he's got older. So can anybody recognize this man? Anyone at all? This is an open message. Can anyone recognize this person? Anyone at all? The man's getting quite impatient because he says he does know somebody here. So remember, it doesn't necessarily need to be a close relation. It could be somebody that you know at some point in your life, but very specific with the character. Not 100% sure with the walking sticks. I think they may just be symbolic to me to show his character. So can anyone recognize this man before I ask him to step back? Okay, so nobody can take him. Okay. Right, Zoe, coming to Zoe. Zoe, I've got a dog coming forward. I'm not good with dog breeds. It's a good sized dog. Some sort of Alsatian. Alsatian German Shepherd dog. Now, I don't think I've got the dog here. I think I'm being shown the dog to identify someone. It's another man I've got coming forward. Younger than the previous spirit. This man is, I think, in his 60s when he passed. Mid to late 60s. Early 70s at the very latest. Quite a strong man. And I think that's more his personality. He likes, or he showed himself wearing a coat. Quite a heavy coat. An expensive coat. Get the feeling he wore coats like this all the time. So, and he wasn't adverse to wearing a hat either, and a scarf. So when it got cold, he would be wearing a scarf, a hat, and a heavy coat. So a man, late 60s, early 70s, quite a strong man, personality, physically strong as well. I don't get like I did with the previous man. This isn't somebody that's I don't like the terminology, but sort of wasted away as they've got older, got weaker. Let's say weaker as opposed to wasted away. So, Zoe, do you recognize this man? So, Zoe, give me some feedback. Do you recognize this man? Are you still with us, Zoe? So, Zoe, do you recognize this man? Now, just to be clear, Zoe, okay. I noticed, Zoe, that you said, can I read you? Just be absolutely clear, I am a spiritual medium. I'm not a psychic medium. I don't read people. I read spirits. I get readings from spirits, what I'm trying to say. All right, now let's see what else he'll give me. I get the feeling when he passed, he's making me breathe deeply. Now I don't know if this is how he died, or towards the end. Certainly towards the end. I don't think this was throughout all his life. Problems breathing. You see, I'm putting my hand up. And I'm going like that to breathe. So towards the end, either when he died or in his last sort of short period before he died, extreme breathing problems. So Zoe, does that narrow it down for you? Does that give you confirmation of who you think this might be? So Zoe, can you accept this man having breathing problems? So Zoe, I know you gave me a maybe from what we had. Does this help you give you confirmation as to who it is? So I'm not sure what the time delay is. I think we've got quite a long time delay tonight, folks. So Zoe, okay, so I'm going to take that as an acceptance that you recognize who the man is. Let me see what he's got to say for you. Now, this is really strange, Zoe, but he's showing me, I don't know if this is you or if this is somebody around you, wearing white sports socks. Almost like the kind of socks that you would wear at school gymnasium, or I mean, they're not football, they're not soccer socks. They're not big, heavy soccer socks. They're short little socks, more like if I was describing as shoes, it's like plimsolls. They're not plimsolls, obviously. They're socks. Excuse me for 1 second, people. We are being attacked again. Let me just, as I said, I would deal with this. Just block this idiot. Sorry, but we're just getting comments, as I said at the beginning. Okay, that's the person blocked, and that's the person gone. Okay, so Zoe, as I said, the message has got, it's not the socks themselves, obviously, but can you understand wearing white sports socks or white socks, like for sport? Have you stopped doing sport? Does that make any sense to you? Whatever it is, these socks are important. Maybe it's a memory. I mean, I get the feeling, like I say, I get the feeling that you would be wearing them at a school gymnasium, as opposed to maybe it's idea. Do you have a daughter that goes to gymnasium and wears white socks? Does that make sense to you, Zoe? Like I said, it's white sports socks, but very short. Do you have a child that wears? Ah, right. Okay. Sorry, I thought that was the message. So it was your granddad. Okay, so it's just confirmation that it's your granddad then. Okay, yeah, they do that. When I'm trying to work fast like that, maybe I'm getting too far ahead. So let's see what else he's got to say. Still coming back to sport. Okay, the socks are not the sport, but I was getting the two mixed up. Are you involved in some sort of sporting activity just now? I know with lockdown, that's probably no. So let's say under normal circumstances, is there a sporting activity that you do? Or do you have, I still get the feeling it's children. Do you have children that do a sporting activity or some sort of activity in a school gymnasium? Right, okay, so that's a no. Let me see. Do you live near a school? Like I said, it's like a you know how it's you know how and you know how America's got an election just now. Um and they're counting the votes in a gymnasium. Now it's not counting votes in a gymnasium, but I'm seeing a school gymnasium, a building. So no to the sporting activities. It's a physical building that I'm being shown. It's definitely, if it's not a school, it's certainly attached to some building that would look like a school. So do you live near a school or do you live near a building that would fit this description? somewhere in your community close to you, or do you know somebody that would go to this? Your grandfather is not giving me, he just keeps showing me this. So this building has some significance, or it's a memory. Yeah, it's definitely a gymnasium. It's got all the bits and pieces at the side that kids would use. It's not a gym for a club. It is definitely a school gymnasium. I don't know, Zoe. All I'm getting is this building. If this makes some sort of sense to you, then I'm going to assume that you can make sense of this. So let's go with YMCA then. Let's see what else he'll give me. Yeah, I'm getting that, the 1970s, 80s song. Oh God, I can't even remember the name of the pop band. They were a gay pop band and they used to YMCA. I got that suddenly thrown in my head by your granddad. So yes. Is there a man connected with this organization that you know? A man. Short black hair. Or do you know a man with short black hair in this area? Because that's what I'm being shown. Quite a young man. Okay, do you have a memory then of a man, short black hair, connected to this building? So it's a memory that we've got. Now he's showing me a man with short black hair. Okay. Or a very masculine female with short black hair. Like I say, if I was seeing this person from a distance, I would say they're a man, but definitely whoever this person is, very short black hair. Think a wee bit wider. Somebody, a man, or somebody that looks like a man with short, quite neat hair, very well groomed. If you don't recognize who this is, I'm going to leave you to work out who this is. There's something going on with this person. When you work out who this person is, I can't take this back because it's too specific. Get something about confusion around this person. Either the person is confused or there's confusion about the person. Okay, like I say, Zoe, I'm going to leave you with the message that your grandfather's giving. You're going to have to work out who this is. I can't take this back because it's too specific. This person is either confused or confusing. I don't know which one it is. You're going to have to work it out with them, and you have to speak to them. I get the feeling if you can work out who this is, and if you can speak to them, all the bits and pieces that I've given you are going to fall into place and going to make sense. So I'm going to leave you with that, Zoe. Sorry, I can't be more specific. No, Zoe, it's too early for your uncle to come forward, and I don't work like that. I don't try and go for specific people. So you're just going to have to work out. You're just going to have to work out who this is. I don't have time. This is not a private reading, Zoe. I don't have time to work in depth for this. So you're just going to have to work out who this person is. It's very confusing. There's confusion around the person, not just the confusion that you've got working out who it is. You have to speak to this person. It's all going to fit into place when you do speak to them, and it's going to make sense to you. So I'll leave you with that, Zoe. Coming to Laurie. So Laurie, you asked for a message quite early on, Laurie. So Laurie. Laurie, I've got a woman coming forward. Now she's showing me herself in a wheelchair, but I don't think she was in a wheelchair for much of her life. I think it was just towards the end. Now, when I get somebody that doesn't need a wheelchair, it tends to be the way that Spirit let me know that the person died in hospital. So, Laurie, can you take a woman, quite elderly, who passed in hospital? You may have memories of her being taken into hospital in a wheelchair or using a wheelchair. You know how they put you in America, they put you in a wheelchair when you arrive at hospital and they put you in a wheelchair when you leave the hospital to avoid insurance claims. I get the feeling that that's sort of the situation with this wheelchair. So a woman, quite elderly, um, finding it difficult to judge her age, but she's certainly in her 80s, quite motherly. I'm not saying it's your mother, but I get the feeling that this is a very mother. Let me rephrase that. Her personality, her profile is mothering. She used to mother everybody around her when she was able. So, Laurie, A, are you still with me? And B, can you recognize this woman? So, Laurie, are you still with me? Still with us? And can you recognize this woman? So, just to repeat, Laurie, it's a woman, possibly in hospital when she passed. And I think she was in a wheelchair. So, Laurie, do you recognize this woman? Laurie, are you still with us or have you given up on us? Laurie, if I don't get some feedback from you, I'm going to move on to someone else. So, Laurie, last chance, Laurie. If you're still with us, then identify yourself. If you can recognize the woman, please identify her. Okay, Laurie, sorry, I'm going to have to move on. Sabrina, coming to Sabrina. Sabrina. Sabrina, can you take... Okay, fine, Sabrina, I got the message with a hi. Sabrina, can you take a child or a baby or a miscarriage? So it's somebody that's passed into spirit. If it's a baby, it didn't last very long. I get the feeling it's more a miscarriage. So Sabrina, if it's not yourself, somebody very, very close to you, and quite recently. I don't think we're going back a long time period. Maybe a couple of years. So can you either recognize for yourself, or I mean, if it's somebody close to you, it's somebody like a sister or your best friend. It's somebody, either you or somebody that is extremely close to you. It's not the child I've got coming forward. I've got somebody coming forward to let you know about the child. Okay, Sabrina, again, I'm going to have to give you this and you're going to have to work it out. The woman that's coming forward, that's raising and looking after this child, is very elderly. She's somebody's grandmother. So whoever this baby is, this is the grandmother. I don't know where you are in the world at this time zone, but if you were in Britain, the woman herself gives the impression of being very working class. I don't know if that's a term that you would recognize wherever it is you are, but if she was in Britain, I would describe her as being very working class, and I don't think she's British actually. She's rounded face. When she was alive, I don't think she was overweight, but she could do with going on a diet. Let's put it that way. Yeah, like I say, the woman is not British. So Canada is close enough to Britain. I'll assume that you can recognize the working class description terminology. or Italian. Actually, that makes more sense because, like I say, she's very distinctively not British. So maybe if it's not yourself, remember, even if you've conceived and it doesn't develop beyond a few days, if there's a miscarriage at that stage, the spirit is still created and the spirit still goes into the other realm and will be brought up as a newborn baby. So I don't know if that helps you to recognize whether it's yourself or whether it's somebody close to you, but whoever's baby it is, they're very, very close to you. Like I say, I feel it's sisterly. If it's not your sister, and obviously if this woman is, if this is your sister, then this has to be your grandmother as well, unless it's a grandmother on the partner's side. But definitely the woman is like I say, this is not, I don't know if you're telling me that you've given birth, but this is a baby that's gone to spirit. And this woman is looking after the baby. And what she wants you to do is work out whose baby it is. If it's not your own, then the message is for who, basically whose child this is. And just let the mother know that the child is in spirit and is being looked after by this woman. I'm going to leave you to work out who that is. If it's not yourself, then I'm sorry for putting that on you, but try and work out who it is, because the woman wants to get the message to that woman. Okay, coming to Brenda. Brenda, are you still with us, Brenda? So, Brenda, I have a man coming forward. You're welcome, Sabrina. Brenda, I have a man coming forward. He's making me feel as though he's middle-aged. No, that's quite an age range. I mean, for example, I'm 55 and I still describe myself as middle-aged. So sort of 40s up to 50s, that sort of age range. In spirit, quite a muscular man. Also making me aware that he maybe had pain in his throat. Finding it, and I don't mean breathing. My throat suddenly is very, very slow. So a man, middle-aged, quite a heavy build, dark hair, dark brown, beginning to grey. So hair that's darker than mine, but beginning to grey when he passed. I mean, I'm quite thin, so if you can imagine, if you're looking at me, he's a good bit heavier than me, sort of broader in the shoulders. I get the feeling if he was in, I mean, again, I don't know where you are at this time of night, but if he was in Britain, he could play rugby. Let's put it that way. Maybe he is a rugby player, actually. Because I just suddenly got the impression of either American football or rugby, maybe when he was younger, or he liked that. I don't know. He either liked it or he played it, or he wanted to play it. But he certainly had the physique for it. Now, I don't know if this is his name. When they give names, they sometimes are names that you can alive that you can identify. But he's giving me the name Peter. No, Pete. or both. Pete, almost as though he's known by both. Pete and Peter. So Brenda, does any of this make sense to you? Man, middle age. Okay. I'm going to open this up, people. So I've got a spirit coming forward. Man, middle aged, sort of 40s up to 50s. A lot heavier build than me, shoulders sort of out, giving the impression that he is rugby or American football. I'm more inclined to go for rugby. He either played it or he liked it. So can anybody identify this man before I ask him to step back? Can anyone identify this man? So open message, people. Can anyone identify this man? Okay, unless somebody can come forward to identify this man, I'm going to ask him to step back. Okay. Coming to Sabrina. So, Sabrina. No, sorry, my mistake. Not Sabrina. Megan. Megan, are you still with us, Megan? So, Megan, are you still with us? I've got a woman coming forward, Megan. Don't think she was that old, actually. Or she's very youthful. She's in her 60s. Very, very, very wavy hair. I get the feeling that she tried to have the hair sort of straight down, but she always ended up sort of bushy. I get the feeling that was actually quite her hair was an irritation. She wanted it straight, and it always either the wind or just naturally used to be sort of out bushy out here. So Megan, does this make sense? A woman in her 60s. So Megan, a woman in her 60s, and very irritated about her hair. Okay, yeah, it's definitely the hair that's the identifying feature for this woman. Just a moment, Sandra. You've already asked for a message. Please don't repeat. I'm writing your name down. When I'm giving a message, if you haven't already asked for a message, that's fine, but please don't repeat asking for a message. So, Megan, this woman, there's something going on in your life just now that she wants to pass a comment about. Very, very. She's a diplomatic woman, let's put it that way. There's something going on in your life that you know she wouldn't approve of or wouldn't like. She doesn't want me to broadcast it out on a streaming exercise like this. But you know that she wouldn't approve of it. Let's put it that way. So, Megan, can you understand what I'm talking about? Something that you're actively involved in that you know that she wouldn't approve of. Does that make sense to you, Megan? I'm not saying it's anything to worry about. Okay, thank you. Just very forcefully wants you to stop or change that. No, she doesn't want you to stop. It's something about the way that you're doing this as opposed to what you're doing. Like I say, she's not given me much more to go on. She just wants you to change the way that you're dealing with it or the way that you're doing it. So, Megan, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you can make sense of that. Like I say, you know how this woman thinks, you know what this woman would say. I think you're maybe even aware of getting messages from her yourself. I get the feeling that that's a yes, or you've had messages from her before. Whatever it is, she doesn't want me to know about it. She certainly doesn't want me to risk broadcasting it. But you have to change the way that you're doing it. So I'm going to leave you with that, Megan. I'm sorry. I hope that's helpful. Like I say, she's not really giving me much more than that. Okay, Nina. Nina, I've got I've got two people coming forward actually. Likewise, I've got two people coming forward. It's a couple, a husband and wife in spirit. Very, I'm being sarcastic here, but very lovey-dovey. That's how they showed themselves. That's got a particular meaning here in Scotland. So don't know if you can accept that or understand that. But they loved each other, but they showed it. You know, the way they talked to each other, the way they acted together. It's just it just got that emotion in my head. I can't even get a physical description of them because that's their soul. It was a bit like the last message I gave with the wavy hair. This is the characteristic that you will identify this couple as. So, Nina, can you identify who this is? They're both, get the feeling they've been in spirit for some time. You know, I don't think this is somebody that's just passed. Yeah, okay, so you understand who we're talking about. Is one of this couples one of your guides? Like you put yourself up as a medium, so you should understand this. I'm not saying I'm not saying they're eternal beings or anything like that. You definitely know who the couple are, but do you recognize one or both of them as your guides? Because I think that's what they're wanting you to know. They're now starting or working with you as your guides. I mean, they were alive, don't get me wrong, but that's the job they've taken on the other side. So if you're not aware of it, just be aware of it. Also, I'm suddenly holding my hand up like that. Now, this is not them, this is you. Do you have an issue with that's my right hand? I know it looks like left on the screen, but can you take something with your right hand? Something going on just now with your right hand. Does that make sense to you, Nina? Can you understand the right hand? I'm not saying you've got rheumatism or anything like that, but there is something going on. Maybe it's even just the way you're working, but something very specifically your right. I can't take this back. Something very specific with your right hand. Does that make sense to you? I'm not diagnosing. Right. Okay. So apparently I am diagnosing, which I don't like doing. They want you to do. Nina, a rhetorical question. When was the last time you took some spiritual healing? Seriously. When was the last? I mean, I know with what's going on with the lockdown, etc., that's a silly question. But when was the last time you took touching spiritual healing? Because that's what they want you to do for your hand. That's the message. They're working with you. They love you. They've got great faith in you, but they want you to go get some spiritual healing for your hand. And I mean proper spiritual healing in a church. I don't mean me just sitting here sending you a prayer. Okay. So you had a healing 3 weeks ago. Okay. Well, they want you to get more. Seriously, go get more. I'm not a spiritual healer, so I'm not the person to come and see. This is not me trying to touch you in spiritual healing. I'm being sarcastic there. I am a true spiritualist. I believe in spiritual healing, but I am not a spiritual healer. But yeah, get some more healing done on the hand. Okay, coming to Sandra. Sandra, are you still with us? See, your numbers have dropped. Sandra, are you still with me? Sandra, are you still with us? Give me a yes if you're still here, Sandra. Sandra, I've got a man coming forward. This man had problems with his legs. Don't think he was lame, but there was something wrong with his legs when he was alive. Okay, so hello, Sandra. So, Sandra, can you take a man in spirit, very specifically a man? Okay. So I'm taking that as a yes, that you can recognize the man with the problem with his legs. Now remember, I did say at the beginning to give me feedback. So I'm taking that yes to mean yes, you understand the man with the legs. So I'm not asking him for any more evidence. I'm asking him why he's come forward. So Sandra, can you understand something to do with paperwork? Very specific paperwork. You've either just received it or you're just expecting it. I don't think it's anything like a bill or accounting. It's something like an insurance policy or a pension document. I'm just seeing the paperwork, and I've been dealing with pensions myself and mortgages recently, so it's that kind of paperwork. So, Sandra, are you dealing with paperwork just now of that description? It may not be a pension, it may not be a will, but it's that kind of legal paperwork. So it's legal paperwork. So Sandra, are you dealing either, if not with the paperwork, something that needs paperwork? Something just now, or something very recent, or something just coming up, but you're definitely aware of it. So Sandra, do you understand what I'm talking about? So Sandra, do you understand something to do with paperwork, possibly a pension, possibly legal? I'm not sure. So Sandra, does this make sense to you? So Sandra, can you understand what I'm talking about? You still with us, Sandra? Sandra, if you don't give me some feedback, yes, no, don't know, then I'm gonna have to let this spirit pass on. I don't mean that in the way that sounds. It's extremely difficult to keep the connections and work like this without seeing people, everybody. So if I don't get some feedback, Sandra, I'm going to have to let the spirit step back. So Sandra, do you understand what I'm talking about? Still with us, Sandra? Sandra, if I don't get some feedback from you, I'm going to have to assume that you're no longer here. So Sandra? Okay, Sandra, I'm sorry. I'm letting the spirit step back. Ah, okay, right. Thank you, Sandra. Right, okay. So we know what we're talking about. I don't know what it is, but you need to go back and double check on it. There's something not right about it. And I don't mean what it is. You notice I put it up, but I brought it back down again very quickly. It's not the record itself, it's the processing of the record is not correct. So go speak to the people on the training course. They've got something wrong, or it's upside down, or it's back to front, or it's, I don't know what it is, but there's something not about the paperwork itself, but something that's been processed with the paperwork that isn't, not disastrous, but timing not matching up, being interpreted the wrong way. I don't know, but something about that. So I'm going to leave you with that, Sandra. Okay, Christine, coming to yourself, Christine. Christine, I'm struggling here actually. Christine, can you take somebody in spirit who suffered from Alzheimer's before they passed? If it's not Alzheimer's, it's extreme confusion. Somebody suffering from Alzheimer's or extreme confusion before they passed. Female. Get the feeling they've been in spirit for some time. I don't think this is somebody you cared for, somebody you knew, maybe distantly, maybe a distant relative or a neighbor. So, Christine, can you understand a woman in spirit that suffered from Alzheimer's or confusion before she passed? Okay. She's coming forward. Christine, do you know somebody close to you that rides a motorbike? Or do you ride the motorbike? We're not talking anything like a Harley Davidson, just might even be a moped, but it's definitely some kind of moped or motorbike. Somebody that rides, somebody that you know, if it's not yourself, somebody that you know close to you that rides a moped or a motorbike. And if it's a motorbike, when I said it's not Harley Davidson, it's a small motorbike. So either a small motorbike or a moped. So who close to you do you know that rides a small motorbike or a moped? Does that make sense to you, Christine? So, Christine, can you recognize who this is? Okay. Go speak to your uncle. I was thinking it was the way he was riding the motorbike, but if he's not riding a motorbike anymore, it must be something else. Because your gran wants to slap him across the face. So don't go and slap him across the face. I'm not telling you to go and assault somebody, but go and have a serious talk to him. He is doing something that he knows that your gran, or you would know that your gran would disapprove of, and she wants him to stop. Don't know what it is. I thought it was the way he was riding the bike, and we're getting quite late, so I'm trying to move quite fast. But just go speak to your uncle, find out what it is he's doing that he shouldn't be doing, and he shouldn't be doing it. Whatever it is, he should not be doing it. And just let him know that I'm assuming that he knows your gran as well. Obviously, don't know what side of the family we're talking about here, but basically just let him know that he's got to stop. Okay, everybody, I'm sorry, but I'm going to close down, Christine. That was the last message I'm going to do. I will be back on Sunday, 8:30 UK time, where I'll be working with my wife, although that does tend to be a very busy event. But we get there's a lot of people there, a lot of energy, so it's easier to work. I will also be back at 12:30 UK time, whatever time that is locally for you, on Monday night or Tuesday morning, so 12:30 UK time. Other than that, I would like you to please join me in a closing prayer. So if you would please put your hands together. Dear Father, Mother, Spirit, thank you for coming forward. Thank you for opening the door to the other side. Thank you for the messages that we received. Please take the energy that's left, not that there's much left of it with this small number of people here tonight, and do some good with it. Find someone to cheer up, find someone to heal. Please send it out into the world. Thank you. Amen. Now, just going to finish. I've told you when I'll be working next. My website's been flashing along the bottom. If you want private readings or training, that's the place to go and look at. I do have a special offer at the moment, which I'm just going to put up a short video to close down, where I do 8 hours of training, readings, etc., and various different activities. Thank you for coming, and if you want to come back, Monday night, Tuesday morning, Thursday this time next week, or Sunday UK time 8:30. Hope you enjoy Scottish music. If not, bye.